This is the beginning of the OLCC Commission meeting for June 20th, 2024. We are going to make a change in the agenda here. We're going to move the contested case hearing till next time, I guess. Do that. And can we have the roll, please?
Commissioner Chowry, Commissioner Curran,
Here.
Commissioner Floyd,
Here.
Commissioner Glenn,
Here.
Commissioner Dupont Porter, Commissioner Hayes,
Here.
Commissioner Melitas,
Here.
Commissioner Warren,
Here.
Chair Doherty.
Here. And I would entertain a motion to approve the May 16, 2024 Commission meeting minutes.
Here.
Commissioner Curran.
I move to approve the May 16th, 2024 Commission meeting minutes as written.
Second. Commissioner Hayes, thank you. Any other discussion? Take the roll, please.
Commissioner Chowry,
Here.
Commissioner Curran,
Yes.
Commissioner Floyd,
Yes.
Commissioner Glenn,
Yes.
Commissioner Dupont Porter, Commissioner Hayes,
Yes.
Commissioner Melitas,
Yes.
Commissioner Warren,
Yes.
Chair Doherty.
Yes. So then we've got the strategic plan overview.
Yeah.
Oh, Tara, okay, well,
I can intro that.
thank you.
Sure. I have Tara, our deputy director, come up. Welcome, Tara Waziak. And Pete and Pandy's online. Pete, can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can.
And then I don't know if Kelly is on as well. Is Miss Kelly on too?
No, Kelly's not with us this morning.
So just to intro and give you a backdrop, Tara has led updating our strategic plans. And there's kind of two ways to do a strategic plan, as everyone knows. One way is I sit and write out the strategic plan by myself to have a strategic plan, and then I put it on a shelf somewhere in case someone asks if we have a strategic plan. That's not what we did. Tara engaged Pivotal, and Pete is the principal of Pivotal. And what we did is we really focused on engagement, making sure we're asking folks about their experience with OLCC and synthesizing that into a plan. And so I want to thank Tara. Tara started with us in November. And I remember me with my little notebook saying, this would be a priority that I'd want you to have. And then I can't remember when you reached out to Pivotal through the procurement process. I want to say it was probably February. So this has been a culmination of a lot of work and work that's been going speedily with urgency, because we want to set a strategic plan for our partners, but most importantly, our employees, that we can say, this is the direction we're moving. So I'm pleased to have Tara and Pete go over our 2024-2028 strategic plan.
Tara, thank you for taking this on. This is a huge, not that you don't already have about 5 or 6 other huge tasks, but this is a critical one. So I so appreciate your effort on this.
Thanks, Chair Doherty. Good morning. Good morning, Commissioners. Thanks, Executive for friends. For the record, I'm Tara Waziak, Deputy Director. As Craig mentioned, I'm here with Pete Pandy from Pivotal Resources. So today we're here to share with you the draft plan. We'd like to share with you, in addition to the plan, our engagement strategy, the key findings that we heard from this engagement, and then our mission and vision, our strategic priorities, our rationale, the goals we came up with, some of the action items, and then our timeline. And of course, hear from you any feedback, comments, questions that you have. So as Dr. Prince mentioned, this was truly a collaborative effort. The plan was not created in a back room. We listened to a wide spectrum of individuals and groups, both inside and outside our agency. We are very fortunate at the OLCC to have so many people that care about the success of this agency and to spend time and provide us feedback. I felt very fortunate to be doing this work in this environment. And we learned a lot from this input. There was a lot of key themes that stood out, some common views, some areas of tension, and some areas of opportunity that folks had. So I feel really good that our strategic priorities were like born of this effort, and they were developed as a direct result of what we heard in sessions. Next slide, please. So this gives a sense that the engagement work is really broad and wide-ranging. Pivotal conducted one-on-one interviews, focus groups, town hall meetings, working meetings, workshops, some of which focus on our mission and vision and values, our agency priorities, our goals, and our actions. So as you can see from this slide, we engaged 127 total participants, both inside and outside the agency, 93 people within the agency, from staff, managers, supervisors, executive team members, and commissioners all participated. And like I mentioned, there was focus working groups to cover specific elements. Next slide. So this slide gives a sense of the governmental, public service organization, and private companies. I won't read this to you, but I wanted to let you know that the folks that leaned into this work with us, we really tried to hear from all angles of people that care about this agency.
So
So with that,
yep.
Great.
I'll talk about this. Okay, thanks, Tara. Yeah, it was quite an exhaustive effort. I don't want to say exhaustive, but we did a lot of talking to people and heard a lot of things. And part of our role at Pivotal was then to interpret the things that we were hearing and to feed that back to the agency and to you in terms of some findings. So what we did in sifting through all the different input and comments that we heard was identify 9 major themes, which we've kind of divided into these 4 areas. So in terms of direction and perception, there was a clear message to clarify the agency mission and vision, to strengthen OLCC's brand, to build on the opportunity presented by new leadership. On the business side, each sub-industry, if you will, has a variety of questions and concerns. I'll kind of talk about a little bit more about what those are in a moment. A lot of focus on approach and capabilities to public health and the agency's responsibility and role in public health, to the regulatory approach and posture, and also internally on the service, customer service, constituent service, and operational functions of the agency. And then overall, readiness for change with the agency's climate and culture, which has some very strong positives to build on, but obviously opportunities for change that are presented with, implementing a strategic plan. So just a quick recap of the findings. Would take a long time to go through everything, so I'm going to boil it down to a few key points. And I already hinted at one. One is the need to clarify the direction and posture, both the mission, and that kind of ties into clarifying really what is the role and responsibility and the position of OLCC in the, let's call it the constellation of engagement of organizations and agencies in Oregon that support public health. A strong appreciation for the agency's collaboration and openness. And I think part of that is due to basically a new atmosphere that I think a lot of people gave Craig direct credit for. And I think that's continued as we've been working through this process. I think the process we worked through helped reinforce that openness to input and communication that's been established over the past year and a half. Going to the businesses, the industry and the partners are looking for greater balance and consistency in how compliance is executed and more support for helping them play by the rules, but also not let people get away with stuff, right? So there's always that tension, as was mentioned, between, we want to support our retail agents, we want to support our licensees, but we also have an important responsibility to keep them from doing the wrong thing. So how do we balance that in ways that we do better support, but also effective and consistent compliance and enforcement. And I think the agency's already recognized a need to support and to enhance customer service, operational processes that need streamlining. Most organizations over time kind of accrete bureaucracy, red tape, stuff that really isn't the best way to do things. And so there's a focus on that I think is very well understood by the leadership team. Also a need for customer service. And I think the pandemic has accented the challenges around customer service. It's kind of put the agency in a little bit of a confusing place about who responds, because we don't have everybody in the same place anymore. So some opportunities there. As I mentioned earlier, one of the strongest things that we found was in every discussion we had with folks within the agency, the first thing they would say when we asked about the strengths was the staff, the colleagues that I work with, that we work with, are an outstanding group. They are committed to and basically, are there to serve the purpose and the mission of OLCC. And really, even though there's plenty of, concerns about where the agency needs to improve, that's really a foundation, as I said, to build on. And so this is one of the things that staff would say as well, that, we really, if I turn to somebody, they'll help me out, but we tend to do it in more of an ad hoc way with not enough aligned communication and processes to support teamwork. So that needs to be addressed. Obviously, there's a need to address the diversity, equity, and inclusion, and also staff development. So how do we support people from women or from protected groups or historically disadvantaged groups who come into the agency so they feel welcome and supported? And how do we help everybody develop their skills and find opportunities, ideally within the agency, for growth? And then finally, a big theme overall, I think you won't be surprised that there's a sense that trust is definitely being restored. There's still always going to be kind of hangovers from some of the controversies and things that have gone on in the past couple of years. But it's getting better, but obviously you need to continue to reinforce that through behavior, through communication, through reassuring people about the integrity and trust that the agency really hopes to fulfill for everybody. So those are the main findings. I'll just pause here. I mean, we can do more questions at the end, but since this is sort of I'm now going to move into the content of the plan. Any comments or questions on the assessment and the summary of findings here?
Commissioners, anybody? I did have a question here. You talked about strengthening the OLCC brand. Are you going to get into detail about, I keep wanting to look out there for you, about the how we're going to do that? Is that further on in this presentation?
Yes. And we don't, we didn't, in the plan, there's an intended activity to do that, and some action items that we'll go through. But each of these action items that we'll see will have to be, there'll be an implementation element to it. Some of those, like building the warehouse, putting new systems in place, those are ongoing efforts already. But a lot of this will be, as we'll see, have to be stood up as part of the activity. So the answer is yes, but with a qualification that, the specific implementation plan has not been developed yet, which is typical in a strategic plan.
Thank you.
Sure. All right. So first thing I'm going to go through is the mission and vision. And as noted, we convened an internal and external team to review the mission and vision of the agency. And the first question was, are we happy with what we have? And if not, do we really think it's worth changing it? And the quick answer from the group, which included 2 commissioners, the governor's liaison, and I think 5 or 6 internal folks, was, yeah, we're not really feeling that this existing mission statement describes comprehensively what we need to accomplish or what our real charge is as an organization. And so through a lot of work, both with this working team in several meetings with work in between, and then sending that draft to the executive team and spending more time hashing it over, the updated mission statement reads, OLCC oversees access to alcohol and cannabis products in Oregon through education, regulation, and distribution of distilled spirits, with the goal of protecting public health and safety while supporting responsible Oregon businesses and generating revenue for local and state agencies. So, as you can tell, it says a lot. It's not the shortest mission statement on the planet, but it also, I think, I will give you my view. I was there helping make it, that it does a pretty good job of comprehensively explaining, but without, 3 paragraphs, what the agency is all about. So that is the new mission. Now, the previous vision statement was even shorter than the previous mission, safety and prosperity for Oregon residents. And the group, again, felt that, this was pretty generic, nothing wrong with it, but could apply to a lot of different Oregon state agencies that have roles in safety, roles in economic development. So, really wanted to come up with something more tailored to OLCC. And we also discussed different ways of formatting a vision statement. And what we ended up with is an approach that we have recommended and used with other agencies doing strategic planning, which is really a multi-part vision statement. And so it starts with a statement of aspiration. Basically, if you were going to boil this down to the vision, this would be, you could say this is all we need to say. And then, as we'll see, there are some other pieces that help explain what this aspiration means. So the aspirational statement is to be recognized as a model in management and regulation of alcohol and cannabis with measurable success in reducing harm, fostering responsible business practices, and supporting economic development. So you can see that we're managing and regulating these industries. Our focus is to measurably reduce harm or support that, and then foster responsible business practices. But it's to be recognized as a model in these areas. So that's the aspiration of this. But obviously, people could say, well, what does that really mean? And so the next piece of the vision is a series of specific statements of outcome or intent that help deliver on this model that we're trying to accomplish. So these include act at all times with transparency, integrity, equity, and respect, reflecting our dedication to our staff, licensees, and the communities we serve. Promote health and safety through evidence-based policies, quality education, and collaboration with our public health and recovery community partners. Ensure diligent, fair enforcement of all laws and rules designed to protect and guide consumers and businesses, including Oregon's bottle bill. Create and sustain innovative, robust systems and processes to support Oregon's alcohol, cannabis, and related industries. Efficiently generate revenue to fund local and state government programs and services, provide outstanding and responsive customer service with a focus on operational effectiveness and continuous improvement, and finally, cultivate an inclusive, diverse, and equitable environment for our workforce, emphasizing a culture rooted in excellence and teamwork. So, more than a mouthful. One of the things that was noted in this vision statement is it really reflects and encompasses the values of the agency as well. So right now, this is where we ended the work. There is some question about whether going on and doing maybe a staff-driven effort to define some specific value statements, but that's still TBD. So that's the mission and vision. So let me pause there and see what comments, questions you might have on this piece, and then we're going to get into the strategic priorities.
Commissioners, any questions? One question here, that it looks like, and hopefully each one of these bullet points is measurable in some form. We can try
Yes.
to do it on these. Good.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I don't know if Commissioners Melitas and Hayes would like to say anything about the process, since they were part of the committee that worked on this. Just invite you to, throw in your 2 bits if you'd like.
I'd like 2 bits first. It was quite a process. Looking at 3 or 4 meetings, and for me, I said as a new commissioner, although I can't really say that anymore. But it was great to meet the staff and their commitment and their thoughts and how they tease some of these pieces out pretty in depth. When you see this, there was a lot of work and a lot of discussion that went into each of these. Like, you go back to the mission statement, it's, we don't deliver cannabis, we don't regulate it, but it was great to see this cross section of staff, and everybody was willing to give input. I was probably the quiet person, should surprise you, but everybody was willing to give input, and it was a great process. I've sat through a number of these, and then to have it just all virtually, I've never done that, but it felt very inclusive, and a lot of voices created this. And I will say, I never noticed the mission statement on my wheel into the office, but I did notice it this time. I was like, oh, yeah.
And I have to give Commissioner Hayes credit, because we were doing this virtually and she was using an iPad, and we found out that the tool we used to collaborate didn't work on the iPad. So she had to kind of, I don't know how you got through it, but we appreciated your patience through that technical issue. So thank you.
Yeah, it was a great process. I mean, obviously, we've been through a lot at this agency, and I thought it was good to be able to kind of level set and just sort of, take some of the experiences we had and reprioritize. I think, in addition to the meetings we had, I think some of the other commissioners were able to add some of their input as well independently. But yeah, I think it's good. I think it's gonna give us a bit of a roadmap to do. And I really like the fact that the things we're hoping to accomplish are measurable, and they give us something to, essentially tick boxes, because so much gets done that I don't know that gets accounted for. And I think having a more comprehensive mission, vision statement, and statements of what we're doing and hoping to achieve will give us some accountability, because so much has gotten done. It's just that, we're on to the next thing. So the reward for the work is often more work. So
Yeah.
for what happened. So great job.
Great. Well, we did have great participation, and if anybody sees a word on there that you think, I'm not sure I like that word, you can pretty much be assured that it was discussed. So every word on here had some scrutiny to it. And the same is true for the other parts of the plan that we're going to go through now too. So the strategic priorities, sometimes you can call them the sort of the pillars that kind of hold the agency up, hold an organization up. These were drawn from the assessment, the findings that we shared through a PESTEL analysis, which is, maybe we explained that before. It's political, economic, social, technological, legal, and environmental, which was done with the executive team, identifying not just current issues, but long-term, bigger trends, things we need to keep in mind over the longer term, as this plan is a 4-year plan. So, we need to think about what might be happening in 2 or 3 years. The SWOT analysis you're probably familiar with: strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. And so this was taken from all those inputs, and then the executive team did a variety of brainstorming and discussion, and these are the 4 strategic priorities then that came out of that process. And so under each of these, we'll share some details. But the high level 4 priorities are efficient, modernized operations and outcomes, balance regulation, compliance, enforcement, and education and public safety, positive business environment, and equity and inclusion, commitment, and action. I think the emphasis there is we don't want to just, talk about it. We want to see action and we want to see outcomes and results. So those are the four major strategic priorities. Now what I'm going to do is basically give you first the rationale statement or I should say the description statement for each, sort of what does this mean in the actual plan document, which I think you've seen. You'll find there's a description in more detail that I'm not going to go over here because it's more words, that describes the rationale, sort of what's the current situation related to this priority. But then I will share the goals, which are sort of the high level things we're going to do, and then an action and timeline. So for efficient, modernized operations and outcomes, what we really mean is we want to fulfill current commitments and address opportunities to upgrade and improve our operations and services while strengthening teamwork and clarifying the value of our work. And to accomplish that strategic priority, the goals include to complete the physical infrastructure and relocation projects on time, on budget, and with documented success measure. So obviously you can tell that's a longer term goal because the success measures will happen really after these things are launched, right? Second, fully modernized critical operating systems, dramatically reducing manual and paper-based activities, streamlining processes, and supporting a culture of data. So you can see how that ties back into the feedback on operational needs and the need to be sort of clear out the junk that gums up the works, if you will. And then third, restore and enhance cross-agency communication, personal connections, and shared engagement in our mission. Some of the action items to support what we see here include, and these are more like projects or initiatives that will be launched to support all this. And you can see the timeline there where roughly when we think these things will happen. Because the plan can't be, we're going to start everything all at once. It's a strategic plan. It's got a longer time frame. So we need to be realistic about, our resources. So the first, obviously, complete transition to the new distilled spirits warehouse and the headquarters move, to launch and implement a suite of implementation of the suite of new software systems, which includes the DSSC, CAMP, and Opto, improve performance measurement enabled by new technology. So as you mentioned earlier, Chair Doherty, that we want to be able to measure stuff. We also need to improve our ability to measure. So that's part of the process. With these new systems will provide better ability for the agency to do more effective and efficient measurement. And then last in this case, and there are other actions, this is just ones that we've pulled out of the list, update policies and practices to promote cross-agency communication and teamwork. So there are a variety of things in mind to help facilitate and encourage people to talk who may not be talking now because they're working remotely. So how do we take action to make that more, to facilitate and encourage more of that kind of activity? So on the second strategic priority, balancing regulation, compliance, enforcement, and education and public safety, what we're really talking about here is to assess and take action to ensure proper balance across the array of methods we use to ensure alcohol and cannabis providers are operating legally and equitably, and then strengthen efforts to promote and protect public health and safety. So both on the staff side and on the external side, and we see this in other agencies that do a regulatory role. I mean, it's tricky to keep the balance between, the heavy hand and the nurturing parent, right? And there are opportunities to support both ends at OLCC to improve. But obviously the final analysis and the final objective is to protect public health and safety. So the two goals here: resolve ambiguity and reduce complexity in our regulatory framework to enhance fairness, equity, and transparency. And second, to improve efforts to prevent use of alcohol and cannabis by minors and the diversion and inversion of cannabis into or out of the recreational cannabis market. Some of the selected actions include updating administrative rules to better enable compliance and ensure equity. And you can see that's a long-term effort. In some ways, it never ends because most agencies will be doing, tweaks to rules to support new initiatives. But really, the importance here is to get some better balance. But at the same time, I've worked with agencies that have tried to do too much too fast, and they kind of overwhelmed not only themselves but also their constituents. So I think the OLCC is looking to figure out, okay, how do we create a plan to do that in a way that is digestible and works for the people out there that we are regulating. Second is to improve delivery and information on existing and changing rules. So that really kind of goes hand in hand with the first one. We can change the rules, but we also have to deploy them in a way that people can understand and respond to them effectively. Then update training for alcohol and cannabis businesses focused on public health. And last, strengthen application of our alcohol and cannabis harm reduction programs. So if you look in the plan, you'll see there's more detail behind each of these actions, but those are the main ones in this priority. The next priority is positive business environment. So we're talking about ensuring our licensing, regulation, and distilled spirits distribution activities create conditions for success across Oregon's responsibly run alcohol, cannabis, and related service industries. So if I could describe sort of a theme behind this, it's, make sure we're not putting up barriers to people who are playing by the rules, make sure we're verifying they're playing by the rules, but make sure when they aren't, we're there to catch them and stop them. So, it's kind of like, don't put a burden on the good guys just because there might be some bad guys out there. And how do we find the right balance to do that? So some of the goals then under that: improve licensing processes to eliminate unnecessary burden on applicants, to increase efficiency and reduce wait times, to develop and communicate clearer compliance and enforcement guidelines for both staff and licensees, and monitor to ensure consistency. And a very succinct message in terms of customer service: OLCC will be available to serve customers. And I'll give Craig credit for that because he said, we just need to do it. And right now it's tough for people to get answers that they're looking for. So those are the three goals there. In terms of the selected actions, conduct an end-to-end review of licensing processes to identify issues and opportunities. And obviously this can be supported and will be supported by the camp, but the system itself doesn't change the processes. So I think the important thing is we need to look at how the interface between the work we do and the system are actually creating an optimal operational environment. To clarify compliance and enforcement guidelines with greater focus on education, define responsibilities and publicize contacts to address questions and requests. So who do I reach out to find out what type of information, make that clearer, both internally and externally. And lastly, on this one, establish and track standards to ensure timely, effective customer service. So that's an ongoing thing that will probably never stop. And we're not going to stop doing it in 2028, obviously. So moving on to the final strategic priority, and then we'll get questions, comments, and I can go back, cover things if you want to go back. So here we're talking about identifying opportunities and developing and implementing strategies to foster diversity and belonging in our organization and across the industries we serve and regulate. So when we talk about equity and inclusion, we're talking both within the organization, within OLCC, but also across the communities and businesses that are served in Oregon. The two goals here: nurture an inclusive workplace culture that promotes equitable management and HR practices and where everyone feels comfortable to be their authentic selves. Second, promote equitable access to services, programs, and resources for alcohol, cannabis, and partner businesses. So partner businesses, primarily hospitality, restaurant and hospitality. So selected actions called out of this: to provide training and support for staff development and diverse succession planning, build on efforts of the staff-led diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging committee. We've actually had some follow-up conversations with that group on this already. To design marijuana license reassignment to address historically underserved and criminalized groups. And lastly, assess liquor store operation application assignment for equitable opportunities. So the marijuana one, you can tell, is already started and it's going to be going on for a long time. Same with the diversity. The liquor store operation is a shorter activity. So, we've got a tighter time horizon on that. So that's a synopsis of what's in the full narrative plan. And with that, I'll open up. Well, you could have interrupted any time with questions, but now I will encourage any questions, comments that you might like to share or bring up.
Did we define barriers to entry? I know that term's been used a couple of times.
Well, I think barriers to entry can be, we didn't get into we didn't write a definition of that, but I think the things that were in mind are organizations or communities where maybe we have not, that don't necessarily think of the opportunities to get into these businesses. There could be, financial barriers, not that we can directly do that, but what are ways we might be creative in supporting financial barriers? I don't know, those are some of the things that came up in the conversations that we had. If Tara or Craig have other thoughts on that, I mean, those are the things that to me seem some of the main ones.
Yeah, I would just love to see some definition around what barriers we're talking about. I think we kind of understand, but it'd help us in accountability and how we focus, I would think.
Sure. And with some of these, it's like the assessment of if we're seeing sort of just like one group's represented in any one program, why might that be?
Yeah.
And assessing, like, are there some unintended barriers that have been put up over time that have just kept us like a select group in these programs?
Okay.
So I think it can be defined as we go, but we'll note it.
Yeah. And I think a lot of agencies are in the same situation of, we recognize there are barriers, but to really uncover them, it takes time to kind of learn to see things through a different lens. That's why we talk a lot about the equity lens, right? So I think that's part of the, how do we get that into focus so we can start to really see where those things are? So I imagine there'll be some discovery and surprises in that.
Thank you.
Sure. Other comments, questions?
Very thoughtful and comprehensive. So I appreciate that. It seems very well thought out and well put together. And obviously this took a lot of work. So thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
When we,
Yes,
uh,
Commissioner Hayes.
when it is implemented, will we be getting regular updates on how? The other thing about a plan, it doesn't just sit on the shelf written by you in a dark room, is just keep it current, keep it present, and hear how things are going.
Yeah, thank you, Commissioner Hayes. This is officially still the draft. We wanted to get your feedback and refine. We had a final staff survey to get their feedback. So we will make those final tweaks and refinements. And hopefully by the end of the month, we'll have the real plan. And then the work begins with the detail around implementation plan, how we're going to achieve these things, how we're going to measure them. So certainly, because this has been so collaborative and it does feel like the useful way to direct the agency, that this will be the tool that we will manage ourselves to make sure that we're on the path. So that's a long answer to say yes. We'll be back to report on how we're doing.
I just, I'm not sure what staff would say, but what I've seen from here, and then also my opportunity to be part of that, is it was very inclusive, more than I've seen other strategic plans in other agencies I've been part of. So
That's great.
like I said, I'll be asking people, really don't know who they are, but you did a really nice job on that. It sounds like, and just the fact that you called out that you'll do a staff survey. Great. Thank you, Sharon.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Great body of work. Thank you.
Really.
Thanks so much.
All right. Thank you all very much. Appreciate it. And I look forward to having an opportunity to hear how this all progresses. We really appreciate the opportunity to work with all of you.
Yeah, thank you. Well done.
All right. I'll leave you to your meeting. Take care. Have a good day.
What's that? We got Steve here.
Steve's here, yeah.
Construction update, Steve. Good morning.
Morning.
And Alan too.
Now and
On deck.
Good morning, Chair Doherty, members of the commission. For the record, Steve Robbins from the Distilled Spirits Program. I've got Alan Rowe with me here. We're going to provide two sets of updates for you. The first is around the construction project. And the second, then we'll start to provide you with some information that we talked about at our last commission meeting, which is around some of our purchasing decisions and some of our operating statistics as we move forward. One of the things that I was excited about last week is we had our first big kickoff meeting with the general contractor and all of the architects. It really provided us an opportunity to get together, set expectations, talk about how we communicate between all the parties, because there are a lot of parties that are involved with this project. And there was a slide that was presented in that discussion that I want to share with you. So I'm going to put that up here on the screen. Let's see.
You look stuff on your laptop.
I am.
I'm afraid to say anything.
I'm afraid to say anything then. So this is a busy slide, but in a way it's also obvious what's on here, but I'm going to walk you through it. The reason I like this slide is, it explains the various segments that we're about to go through and that we're currently in. And it also communicates the importance of when decisions are made throughout the process. We've all talked about for months and months and months that OLCC is about to embark on some big projects, and capacity is a concern in terms of just how much can we bite off at one time. And that capacity has started to become evident in the last couple of weeks. Very evident for us in terms of how much actual tactical work is going on around the construction. And this slide starts to explain why that is the case. But I'll just kind of go through the various lines on this slide. Basically, what this shows is from left to right are the various phases of the project. There was the pre-design phase. There's the schematic design phase. We just finished schematic design phase and are actually getting the final reports on that tomorrow on schematic design. And so we've moved into the next phase, which is DD, which is the design development. And as we work through design development, at the end of that phase, we will get the guaranteed maximum price from the contractor, as well as we'll start really locking down our schedule. And then we move out into construction and the other phases as we move forward. What the blue line on this graph is showing us is that the farther we move through this project, the more our ability to make change goes down. It's much easier for us to make changes on the front end than as we get closer to the end of the project. What the red line demonstrates is around cost, and that is it's much cheaper to make changes to this project on the front end than as we start getting downstream. Sometimes decisions compound other decisions and it starts to get expensive. And so the question becomes, when do we make the bulk of the decisions? Typically, what the white line shows is typically in these processes, most of those decisions are made in construction during the construction documentation phase. What we are trying to do is live on the yellow line. We are purposefully trying to front load as many decisions as we can to get ourselves set so that we can move on. Now that serves a dual purpose. First of all, it allows us to make decisions less expensively and more efficiently for us and for Oregonians. But second, we've got some other big projects that are coming as well around all of our systems, our whole distilled spirit supply chain, all of those decisions. That yellow line is going to start to peak here in the next few months as we start moving forward with that. So we're trying right now, if we're on that line right now between SD and DD, you'll see that we're starting to get towards the peak of the big decisions we're making. That is very evident in Alan's world and in my world when we're actually starting to get into decisions around how high on the wall do you want this outlet in the warehouse? And where do we want to put the drops for this? And what kind of dock packages do we want? I mean, we're really in that zone right now. So we're getting lots and lots of homework from our owner's rep who's assisting us through this process, from the contractors, from the architects, very specific questions. Where do we want the artwork on the land, on our property, all of those things. So we're feeling it now. We're in that phase now where we're really feeling those decisions. What I feel good about is we're making it, we're doing okay, and we're going to start to see those subside over time here. And then we can actually just get into the implementation phase and actually get things built. We're kind of our next steps right now. As I mentioned before, tomorrow, J.E. Dunn will be providing us an estimate. It'll be our first formal estimate for the cost of this project. Now, once we get that, depending on what happens in that estimate, we have a budget for this project. And if that estimate exceeds that budget, then we have to do some work to change some of the parameters of what we've asked for. We really have not limited ourselves much in this initial ask. We're asking for everything that we think we really want because we know we have the opportunity to cull some of that out as we go. So it would not surprise me if the first estimate we get exceeds the budget. But remember, this is not guaranteed maximum pricing. That comes later. This is just the first raw cut that we're formally getting from the contractor. So we'll at that point, depending on the estimate, we'll modify our plans. Then at the conclusion, as I mentioned, we'll get the guaranteed maximum price. And then we're doing all of that substantial homework right now on the project to really lock down what it is we want. Because if we need power in the middle of the warehouse, it's much easier for us to know where those lines are going to run in the concrete that's poured than to try and do it later and run it all the way up to the roof and over and down, things like that. So that's where we are in this process. We're excited to see that initial estimate tomorrow. And we're well underway with making the decisions around the warehouse. So I'm happy to answer any questions on that. Okay.
Steve, do you any hint at any further delays in this? Or are we moving on?
Sure, Doherty, members of the commission. Yeah, we are not. I was very excited about how well we were all working together in that kickoff meeting and talking about the execution of these plans. Really, since the inception of this, some of the delays. There's one big delay in this project that was pulling the headquarters out of this, and that had an impact on everything from contracting to how they would bid it and everything else. Right now, the current delays that we have are still in that contracting realm. And so we're waiting right now. For instance, we have the material handling system we've talked about before, which is all the racking, it's all the conveyance system. It has been determined that the installation of that will fall with the general contractor. So we're amending the contract to have that put in. We're in the process of trying to get that through the Department of Justice right now and get that finished, where they've committed that it'd be by the end of next week. So we hopefully will have that in place. And then we have some other steps, with government contracting. Okay, we're going to get the material handling system into their contract, but then we have to have an early work amendment that then gives them permission to start spending money to do that. So there's process, then there's money. So those are the things that could potentially delay things as we're going right now. But operationally, I've been very excited at what I'm seeing in terms of the effort being put in to even overcome some of those delays through how we operate. I mean, just as an example, there is what's called the electrical switchgear for the building, which is really the big infrastructure for electricity for the warehouse. We just found out that that's a 15-month lead time for us to get the switchgear. So we got to get that ordered now. So those are the things that we're trying to work through and accelerate as quickly as we can.
Are we looking at January 26th? Is that what we're shooting for?
Yeah, I know that was originally, I mean, when I first got here, there were we were talking about maybe the fourth quarter of 25, and then that kind of moved into 26. I think with some of these contracting things, it's going to be out further than that. I can't really lock that down. I think part of what I'm looking forward to tomorrow is seeing that estimate, those first estimates and first schedules, and then we'll really lock down that schedule as we get ourselves into the GMP.
Okay, thanks.
But Chair, so out the gate though, shouldn't this be a lot less expensive since they're pulling out the headquarters?
But
I can answer that one, Commissioner Fay. Pulling out the headquarters gave us the possibility of staying within budget, honestly.
Yeah.
That was clear at the beginning when we had some of the initial work. And so we want to put all of the bonding, all of the borrowing that the state of Oregon has done completely on making sure this warehouse is a efficient, long-term plan to have all the distilled spirits go through in Oregon. And so it was clear to stay within budget. That's why that was done last summer, we could just see to stay within budget with not to bring up the land price we paid, which was double what was expected, and then getting the initial estimates. So that was done to try to stay on budget.
Okay, we'll go ahead and move on from the warehouse update. As we moved into the distilled spirits purchasing and operations update, I just wanted to take a quick moment with some updates. Commissioner Floyd, you'd asked a question at our last commission meeting about how previously there'd been a process of kind of an approval or confirmation around purchasing decisions and operational updates. And I committed to going out and doing some investigating on that and finding out sort of what had happened and where we are. So I wanted to update the commission on that. What we've clarified is that there is a document that is called a delegation of authority that comes from the chair to Executive Director Prinz that lists out, these are the things that he is delegating to the Executive Director to do. In those delegations is the purchasing and delisting of products. So formally, commission approval is not necessary. That's been delegated to us to make those decisions. However, what we did find out, because there are records on it, was that even though those decisions didn't require approval, we were still bringing them to make them public and to let you comment on them and see them. And then the commission was providing a confirmation that you had received those. And so what we're doing now, just because of the timing of how this work is, today we're going to give you an update without the confirmation step. But as we move forward, if that's something that the commission would like, is that confirmation step as a part of it, we're happy to comply with that. So that's just kind of a little bit of a background on that. Last but not least, some of you have not had a chance to meet Alan Rowe, so I wanted to just take a moment and introduce him. He's been with the agency for 17 years, all of it in the warehousing and transportation side of things. So he knows our warehouse inside out. He knows where all the bodies are buried. And he is a huge part.
Just for the record, that was figurative.
Yes, figurative. But he is a critical part of the decision making we're making on all of these warehouse decisions, because he and his team know where we want dock plates, where we want everything to be. And he runs many of the subcommittees that we are operating with right now to make some of those decisions. In addition to that, Alan is also holding down the fort for us in the purchasing arena. So he's doing kind of double duty for us right now. And as that yellow line on the graph, that's definitely impacting Alan's role. So I just publicly wanted to thank Alan and his team for that, just because I know it's tough right now, but we are going to have a great product on the back end, and we're excited to see that. And also just pass along the appreciation of many of our suppliers. As we've been going through changes here at OLCC, I'm hearing nothing but positive things from suppliers about Alan's work as he does that double duty on the purchasing side as well.
Hopefully he's gonna get double pay.
But with that, I'll go ahead and pass it over to Alan, and we'll get our latest purchasing updates, and I'm going to run the slides for him, hopefully effectively. So.
Good morning, Chair Doherty and members of the commission. Steve said he was going to introduce me. That was a little more than I expected. So, sorry if I'm blushing up here. For the record, my name is Alan Rowe. I'm the Distribution Services Assistant Director, currently overseeing distribution and the purchasing departments. I'm here today just to share with you some of the activities and production values that we've experienced over the last month or so, and to share with you our listing and delisting process. Currently, we just had a listing. The listing meetings are about 5 times a year. Excuse me. 5 times a year, about every other month until September, and then we have a gap throughout the holiday season. Just the last meeting that we had at the end of May, the committee approved, I believe, 18 new products out of 53 submissions. The committee bases these decisions based on suppliers' presentation, marketability, market plan, sales record, price point, taste, packaging, you name it, many topics to judge those on. Also, this last meeting was the one time a year that we approve and discuss the holiday VAT offerings for the holiday coming up. That's value added packs. That's with the bottle with the t-shirt, bottle with a shot glass, etc. So on, you see at the holidays. And we were, let's see, I believe 124 submissions for the holiday VAT listing, and 90 were selected. So we'll be distributing 90 different holiday gift bags for the Christmas season coming up in the end of the year. The selected listed items will be on the next slide, so you can see those. Part of the delisting process is an ongoing process that I and the purchasing coordinator have been working on. It's a kind of a 6-month process. It just kind of keeps cycling through. When a product drops below set profit margins, then we give notification to suppliers as to how their product is doing and that they're in danger of being just delisted. They're then given a 6-month period to try to improve their sales numbers, bring it above the profit line, get the marketing going, get their reps out there, get their feet on the ground. Many of them will avoid the delisting process once we just draw their attention to their product. Last year, at the end of 2023, we officially delisted 85 different products from 31 separate suppliers. I did not list that entire list for you on a slide. I didn't think you really wanted to read 85 lines. Currently, we've just started a new delisting process just a couple of months ago, and we've sent warnings out to 290 different items to suppliers saying that their products are also in danger of delisting. They have until August to see if they can improve their profit numbers before they're officially delisted.
Sure, and now I'll just add to what Alan had mentioned there, just for clarity. But when we talk about listing is our catalog, if you will, of what is available. If it's not listed, you can still get it. It's a special order then, but a listing means it's in the regular rotation and it's not there. So even an item that may be delisted Does not mean it's no longer available to Oregonians. It just means it's not going to be in our regular catalog because it's not kept up with those thresholds.
And the list that might be hard to read depending on how close you are to your screen. That was the 18 items that were just accepted this last May. Categories and different sizes.
Alan, these are on trial.
Yes,
These
we set those up as, we basically try everything, we set every new item up as trial listing. That allows the supplier to keep a small amount of inventory within the building, maintain their own inventory supply. Depending on how the product does, it can either move up or down the listing chain. It can go up to a regular listing, which allows the supplier to carry more inventory in the building, or it might go down to a limited listing and they're allowed to keep a smaller amount of inventory in the house. But everything starts off as trial.
Alan, are these, you see some listed as cocktails, are those RTDs? Is that what we're talking about?
Yes, the ones that you see there that are marked as cocktails, those are canned cocktails.
Okay.
Does this include also?
Mostly seltzers,
Pardon me?
mostly seltzers
Okay.
with still spirits, maybe with the still spirits, vodka, tequila.
Sorry. Does this include some of the special orders to trial?
Some of the, excuse me, Commissioner, some of them are special order items that the presenters bring to the listing meeting because they want to be considered for a regular listing or at least a trial listing. They have been special ordered for some time and they feel like their sales numbers or their product deserves a regular or full-time trial listing. Moving on to the production numbers of the warehouse, you can see here our input versus output. Just the last month in May, the warehouse received 328,000 cases in, and we shipped out 323,000 cases over the month. Daily average is about 14,500. We try our best to keep the in and out static. So we don't want to bring in more than we're shipping out. We don't want to ship out more than we're bringing in. It keeps us maintaining a certain level of inventory. We processed, 1,326 total orders from the 285 liquor stores over the month of May. Warehouse capacity, the thing we're constantly talking about, why we need a new building. The maximum, absolute 100% maximum capacity of the warehouse was established a couple of years back by a third-party, independent third-party study. Judging all of the locations that I have in the warehouse, all of the square footage, both vertically and horizontally, and then they calculate how many cases at full capacity we could physically stuff into this warehouse. That's not where we want to be. An operational sweet spot for warehouse is about 75 to 80% of maximum capacity. It allows for growth and production efficiency, being able to move product around the warehouse, bringing in new products while delisting old products. That would be the orange line you see there on that top graph. The blue area is just the month-to-month capacity that we have had in the warehouse, with a rolling 12-month average of 550,000 cases. That, of course, is more than the orange line that represents 80% of our maximum. So that's the goal we want to be at, and we're constantly over that. Like I said, anywhere from 90 to 109% capacity over what we want to be our goal. Any of that makes sense. Down below it's just the dollar value of the wholesale value of the inventory as it goes month by month. As you can see, once again, it peaks right towards the holiday season. So August, September, and October. Those are the big months where we stuff the warehouse full of all of those gift packs that we were talking about earlier. So we can shove them all out in November, December to all the stores. Questions so far? Just information's sake, these are the top 10 fastest moving items out of the warehouse. Doesn't necessarily mean they have the biggest sales dollars on the retail end, just the fastest moving depletion out of the warehouse. Pretty steady with the Tito's and Rose City vodka on top as always. And that's what I have for you. Any questions? Anything else I can bring to the commission for next time?
Chair, I've got a quick question. So on your selection committee, tell us how many folks are on the selection committee and who all comprises?
There are 15 members on the committee, only 8 vote, I believe. And those are the members that are from the retail service end, some liquor store agents, and some other retail division heads here. The rest of the committee is rounded out by people from the purchasing departments, myself. We don't actually vote, we just kind of facilitate the meeting. The voting members will listen to presentations from suppliers, sample the product, listen to the marketing plan, make the decisions based on that.
And so the decisions are mostly based off of supplier presentations.
Yes, and well, we also supply sales history if we have any knowledge, if we have any of that data from our own. Many of these products were already special orders, and we can provide to the voting portion of the committee how those numbers have been doing, how many cases have moved out, how many have sold over the last rolling 12-month period. As well as the salespeople will, of course, bring their own sales numbers from other states and how they're doing nationwide.
Perfect. I would like to make a suggestion, Alan. I think we've talked about this before, but I think that, having a licensee or just somebody from the hospitality industry, there's a lot of folks, a lot of customers that come in and out of their bars and their restaurants. And I think that there's value there in their insight. So another perspective from a supplier wanting to get on, our list. There's a lot of value there in listening to their customers. There's many different bars and restaurants in our state. And I think that having a licensee on the selection committee would be valuable insight. Without it, we're missing. It's just a little skew from suppliers. So that's my suggestion.
Something to consider. Thank you.
I think that concludes our presentations.
Thank you, guys. Great presentation. Appreciate it very much. And we're going to have retail now. Yeah. Okay. James McHughes. Good morning.
Hello.
How are you doing this morning?
Good. How are you doing?
Very well. Thank you for being here.
My pleasure. So good morning, Chair Doherty and Commissioners. For the record, I'm James McHughes, District Manager representing Retail Services. Here today to present the Commission with 2 agent appointments. I don't know if you have a chance to look them over, but our first presenter will be Adam Johnson. Give you a quick background on it. So on December 31st, 2023, Agent Eric Johnson resigned. So Eric Johnson's the father, Adam Johnson is the son. Resigned for health reasons from store 1041 Gresham, Troutdale. Eric was appointed to store 1041 in November of 1998, so he has 25-year history for running a liquor store. And with the help of his son, Adam Johnson, has enlarged the store and grown the business over the years. Retail Services is requesting a permanent replacement for Eric Johnson by the appointment of his son, Adam Johnson, who has worked alongside his father as the store general manager since June of 2009 and has been operating the store as a temporary agent for approximately the past 6 months. Adam, come on.
My name is Adam Johnston, and I'm with Troutdale 1041, and I'm the acting temporary agent right now.
Morning.
So this is a spouse-child takeover. We did not have any other applicants. This is the normal process for this. And so you have I can recite all this to you, but basically, he's gone through the application and interview process. The district manager has provided information on the success of his running the store, and staff recommends his appointment.
And if I can ask a question, how long have you been running the store?
I've been running the store approximately 10 years
Okay.
as the general manager, acting owner the whole time as well.
Yeah.
I've been dealing with Randy from day one. But yeah, I went to university and was going for electrical engineering, and then some health complications happened. And so I took a step from that and then started helping with the store. Things got better, and then I just kind of fell in love with it. And so I decided not to go back to Portland State.
Wonderful. So how have, I was quite impressed at your latest audits. What was the?
Oh, sorry, I'd have to look this. I don't have that memorized.
I believe the last 3 Troutdale audits, I don't have the numbers exact, but they were all less than 7% for discrepancy ratings. And then they were all positive or a little bit over in the dollar amounts.
Yeah, I thought I saw an outstanding on there for
valuations. Well, that would have been the evaluations would have been you're talking about the evaluations.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Yeah, the annual evaluations, he wouldn't have had an actual evaluation, just a 3-month temporary one, but
The
yeah,
one that we had back in April, no, March.
correct.
But I've actually been running all of the audits in the inventory for the last 10 years. We actually, tiny story, we had a past manager who was really good with managing the people, but not managing the inventory. And so we always refer to it as the bad audit. And we've never had a bad audit again. So and I was kind of at that point just an employee at the store. I was kind of a nighttime manager. That was many years ago. And after that moment, I just kind of went to my father and I said, when it comes to this, I don't want to watch the stress on you. So I'm just going to run it from now on. And that's kind of the way it's been.
Good job.
Good on you.
Yeah. And you like this better than electrical engineering?
It's very different. No, I love it because I wake up and I go to work for myself every day.
Yeah.
The kind of people you meet on a day-to-day basis are fantastic. Dealing with the bars and the people out in the retails, most of them are fantastic. It's kind of when I took over the store, I kind of ran things the way that my father wanted them ran. But I'm a little more technologically inclined than he is. So I updated the store, and so now we have a bunch of processes that the store runs much, much smoother. So I've tried to take those processes to the bars. I realized that a lot of bars are more archaic than they seem to be with the processes and the situations that they run. So trying to be digital in 2024. Some people just are still fighting it for some reason. So,
well, when I'm fighting it, my grandson usually brings me up to date on how to do whatever I'm doing.
Well, like I said, it was 20 years ago that I was at Oregon State and then Portland State, and when you don't immerse yourself in that situation all the time or that information, it's amazing what passes you by if you don't continue up with it. So.
Yeah.
So we're working on that right now. Actually, that's one of the things that we talked about, that I've talked about with Randy, is trying to get away for these bars and accounts to do everything online and digitally. So that way things are submitted and pulled and processed. And, I don't know if we need a fax machine anymore in this day and age, but I still get 30 faxes a week, 20 to 30 faxes a week. So.
Wow. Work smarter, not harder, right, Adam?
Less paper.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. Commissioners, any questions? Okay, do you have anything else for us?
I do not.
Okay.
No, I was here back in, I don't know when I went for the Canby liquor store, but I presented to the commission about 7 years ago now. And for the Canby liquor store, and then when that didn't happen, it was kind of like, okay, well, let's change direction and kind of figure out where we're going, because at that point I decided that this is what I wanted to do. So, that's that's the position I took.
Yeah,
So,
well done. All right, I think we're gonna group these two together. Yeah, yeah. So thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Okay, our second applicant is for store 1284 Otis. And the application or the applicant is Manjeet Singh, who has been operating the store since they purchased it in June of 2023. So he was appointed a temporary agent at the time. It's a convenience store in Otis where they have liquor. So he purchased the store from the previous agent and has now been running the store since June 2023 and is applying for this permanent. He's the only applicant for that, so Manjeet and his son Cash are going to do a small presentation for you guys.
Wonderful, thank you.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, thank you for being here.
Good morning.
Oh,
Yes, should we just go ahead with the presentation? And Laura, you have that.
My name is Akash. This is my father, Lindsay, and we run the store in Rose Lodge, Otis. We've been doing it for a year now, and so far everything is good. But some things we're improving on, some things like we don't know. We're learning at the same point. And are we able to do presentation?
Give me a second, I'm sorry, that was wrong. You can keep talking.
Good job.
Sorry.
Wow.
Yeah, I bring some copies for the.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, so my name is Manjeet Singh. It's with my son. We are from Rose Lodge Liquor Market in Otis. So we've been running this store like 1 year, which is we take over like 2023 June 21st. So pretty much 1 year. And you slide that and yeah, so it's my family's and my partners and we run like before a food cart business like 5 years, which is I sold already now. So and my wife, my son and my daughter, we try to hard work to run the store to make approve some which we can do. I have like experience for before I've been working for as a manager AM PM. I have like 16 years experience. 2018 we buy own business food truck. We run that. I take all pay staff and all managing for that. And also I've been like a manager for the AM PM before. So I have pretty good experience for the customer service. Next part, what have we done? We done some increase some space for inside the liquor part, and we have some sampling, advertising, good customer service. To if some customer asking some special order, we try to bring some stuff for them too, and so a lot of like local peoples have told us like we tried previous owners like talking to them like we need something as in special order. There are a couple of bars close by it that tried communicating to previous owners, but they didn't putting any effort into it. So that's what we're trying to do, talk to people. Well, if somebody breaks up, they don't come back, you know? So we are trying to get people together, talk with the community, a lot of regular customers, so trying to grow as much as we can. That's basically our customers, community, you know, we try to interact with them, do whatever we can, do give outs, shirts, hats. We talk to all of our vendors from our the liquor vendors that come in and talk to us. We try talking to them, do samplings, do whatever we can to make people happy. We had some like Indian food there because we have experience for the Indian food. And also has a thing that like we apply lottery already. So hope so anytimes we have a like a lottery in there too. And which we're doing right now, painting the outside the building. We inside we approve already, we did the LED light and all everything's to done inside a lot of things, and now we doing like outside painting, which we want to try to look like outside. Nice to people can come, they look the how's the clean the store. So we keep them clean to make them happy, all customers. Local community pretty nice, everybody we appreciate. You can tell they have good smile when they come. They have no issue right now with the inventory. Previous owner has some like inventory. We're trying to like fix the inventory to transfer for the which is we not saving anything item to transfer to fix the inventory because a lot of customers asking some more product, different stuff, you know. So which we can add it because we have like already inventory. So we try to fix that inventory and to bring them some like new product for the customer to make more happy for customer. Holidays coming, we trying to asking customer what they need, what they looking. We talk all the time for customer, trying to do best. And more responsibility to customer service, not selling for the alcohol for the minor. If anybody see that he's already drunk, we're trying to say sorry, you know, we can't hold to you that. And we all can try to appreciate for the local customer, nice customer. 1 year we running, we don't have any happen like this can anybody came over, but like that's our responsibility. We take care, not selling for the minor, check the ID always. If we working, we always check. We employee working, we telling, hey, IDs first, whichever you looks like 226, make sure you check the ID. And all organize the paperwork thing, the fasting, the at time, all paperwork we send it at the right time. We don't have any issue. We try to which is can be best. That's all we're trying to do. Yes, we work in our hard families and everything. That's the looks like building we has. That's previous paint. We thought it's gonna be done, but he's still working. His can probably done like tomorrow. We don't have a new update picture. We going to have some like T-shirt on the logos. We trying to give like customers free. Also, we have like 28 June. We doing like a grand opening. So we bring some like the big is like TV, some other stuff like 10, 12 prizes. We doing a raffle to give like free for customer. And also we providing some like free food the 28th June. We talk all vendors, they're gonna come over to give away for some stuff for the sampling, stuff like that, to make them happy, local community, at least. I know it's gonna, it's a holidays, a lot of traveling people probably stopping by do there. So we have like pretty good food, Indian food and some fresh garlic naan or butter chicken. So giving like free for the customer to make them happy for the local community. Yeah. And then cheers.
Cheers.
Yeah. If we need anything, you guys can tell us. We're always happy to learn stuff.
Thank you. Mr. Jamal Porter?
I think that, yeah, I mean, what was resonating is that you seem like really into the community, so I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, they have some issue previous, you know, I don't wanna say, but like,
Yeah.
the customers mostly happy. They say you guys done a lot of things, mostly like cleaning, new lighting. We add the IC machine, which is don't have IC machine there, to, I think so Lincoln City maybe have, but no have like a lot of kids like IC, you know. And we had some like fresh fruit, you know, apples, bananas, you know, avocados, some local.
Well, for like winter time, like there's not a lot of traveling, but the locals, those are the only ones that give us main of the business.
Yeah. Local
That makes a
community,
big difference.
very good to run the business, yeah.
Well, I was looking at that non-bread boy.
Yeah. Yeah, before doesn't have the good kitchen, we like increase the
Yeah.
kitchen to bring the big fire, we have like more fresh dailies there. We keep cooking like fresh, we cook loro and then we cook. A lot of customer asking, hey, you guys did awesome job, you guys have good food now, before don't have quality for the food. So it's a lot of things we done, mostly local community is very happy. We try to make home more happy too. We have like experience, so hope so. We're going like this.
Awesome.
Do you have any opportunity to expand in say, economic with licensee accounts? Do you have any bars and restaurant accounts that you serve?
No, we don't have.
Nothing right now, but I am trying.
We have like space. I have like pretty big property, right? There-
Are you asking for like talk to other bars and like so we can work?
Service
with them?
bars and restaurants, right? So I
That's
don't know
what
what the
I'm
notice.
trying to do right now, talk to a couple bars that are close by, locals.
Yep.
And yeah, they ask for some cases that I do, but not like a account, you know?
Mhm.
So I just make like a special order for them and they just buy regularly, nothing like special order for like, I don't know how to explain it, but like order and I get it to them, but not like an account wise, nothing like that. But I'm trying my best, talk to everybody, whatever I can do.
Mostly you catch when you run like even like years, you know, then
Yeah.
you know people. Even happens when we buy first, I have like really hard time to, right away I have to go back in home because my dad passed away. And after 6 months, my mom wanted to go back with my dad too, she's passed away. So I have like to go like 2 times between two there, which is kind of like little gap. But like now we try to give more time for the store. We go there, sometimes stay over there because we have house back there. So we are my son and me, and I have like also a couple of employees too. We always 2 people there to help for customer or anything.
We've had a lot, and it's been a year, I think,
Yeah.
right? To the date, it's been a year. Try and look at maybe, you know, expanding that bottom line a little bit and look at those, whatever opportunities there are for bars and restaurants and get those accounts.
Definitely.
And there was an 8% drop over the last year in sales. Is that, am I reading that correctly? About 8.2% from lower sales from 22 to 23. Do you know what was behind that?
Yes. What's we thinking like we try to do best than before, you know, but it could be like economy, you know, a lot of people after COVID
Yeah,
doesn't have the extra money to spend it, you know, limited money, you know. That was my thinking.
okay.
Another than for the us side, we trying to talk customer, telling, hey, what you guys need, you know, working, providing everything, but like it's kind of like it's probably like everywhere, you know, they have like common issue for a lot of people don't have like extra money to spend it, you know. So I was thinking like if I run all over summer, then we figure out what is the issue. We try to find the issue, but like that's what I thought is because economy probably a lot of people don't have extra money, you know, to spend it. But
Well,
Commissioner Doherty, if I may.
yeah,
The entire state is feeling a decline right now in the liquor sales. My entire district is flat or below, and it's probably due to the exceptional increases we've had over the last few years due to COVID and so forth.
Yeah. So, yeah, just like Commissioner Floyd said, getting out to those licensees and developing relations in there that, I think you can boost your bottom line quite a bit there.
Yes, sir.
Commissioner, anything else? All right, thank you very much.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
I think instead of recess,
If anybody didn't to the link to city, please stop and by.
thank you.
Thank you.
I think we can combine.
Yeah.
We'll make two separate motions at the same, so. We'll entertain a motion. Well, let's entertain a motion on the first one, please. So my motion's agenda here. There we go. Yeah. So, Commissioner?
I move to appoint Adam Johnston as the permanent agent at store 1041 Gresham Hotel effective July 2024.
We have a second? Second, thank you. Any further discussion? We have the roll, please.
Commissioner Chowry,
Yes.
Commissioner Curran,
Yes.
Commissioner Floyd,
Yes.
Commissioner Glenn,
Yes.
Commissioner Japong Porter, Commissioner Hayes,
Yes.
Commissioner Miletus,
Yes.
Commissioner Warren,
Yes.
Chair Doherty.
Yes. And for the Otis store, I would entertain a motion here.
I move to appoint Sanji Inc. or Manjeet Singh as the permanent agent at store 1284 Otis effective July 2024. Second.
Second.
Any discussion? We have the roll, please.
Commissioner Chowry,
Yes.
Commissioner Curran,
Yes.
Commissioner Floyd,
Yes.
Commissioner Glenn,
Yes.
Commissioner Japong Porter,
Yes.
Commissioner Hayes,
Yes.
Commissioner Miletus,
Yes.
Commissioner Warren,
Yes.
Chair Doherty.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Yeah. Congratulations.
Commissioner Chair.
There it is. Okay. The commission will temporarily recess its public meeting to discuss proposed stipulated settlement agreements from contested cases under ORS 183.417 and as authorized under ORS 192.690. What? Here we are back in session. This is what it is.
Good morning, Commissioners, Chair. My name is Elijah Nadell, case presenter for Administrative Hearings Division here at the OLCC. I have two marijuana settlements to present to you today. If you have any questions, please let me know.
Have any questions?
No.
I would entertain a motion then.
Thank you, Chair. I need to ratify the two stipulated settlement agreements as proposed by staff.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further questions? We take the roll.
Commissioner Chowry,
Yes.
Commissioner Curran,
Yes.
Commissioner Floyd,
Yes.
Commissioner Glenn,
Yes.
Commissioner Japong Porter, Commissioner Hayes,
Yes.
Commissioner Miletus,
Yes.
Commissioner Warren,
Yes.
Chair Doherty.
Yes. I should thank you very much. Appreciate your help.
Thank you.
Good morning. How are you doing this morning,
I'm
Nicole?
doing wonderful. Thanks for asking. Good morning, Chair Doherty and Commissioners. For the record, Nicole Blase, and the Rules Coordinator for the Oregon Liquor and Cannabis Commission. I'm here to present one rulemaking action for your consideration today. Our first and only item is a final action for the delivery of alcoholic beverages direct to a consumer. The shipment of alcohol directly to consumers has been a licensed privilege since the creation of the 1933 Liquor Control Act. Since the advent of that legislation, the legislature has continued to expand that privilege for licensees by making modifications to the statute. Over the past several years, OLCC staff have worked with the Oregon legislature, industry, and public health partners to implement House Bill 3308 in 2023 and House Bill 4138 in 2024. which required both permitting and education requirements for companies and employees that provide the delivery of alcoholic beverages. In response to this legislation, OLCC implemented temporary rules this past fall so that regulations would be in place while permanent rules and underlying processes were developed. This rules package permanently implements the temporary rules and adds the delivery permitting fee that was established this past session in House Bill 4138. As a part of its public safety mission, the OLCC has begun monitoring deliveries with minor decoy operations and plans to assess the outcome of those operations with industry. This may result in further rulemaking and industry education. And we have our subject matter experts joining us virtually if you have any further questions.
Any questions? I would entertain a motion for this final action.
Chair?
Commissioner Warren.
I move to amend OAR 845-005-0416, 005-0424, 006-0391, 006-0392, 006-0396, 006-0399, and 099-0200 to adopt OAR 845-005-0421 and 005-0451, and to repeal OAR 845-005-0401, effective June 28th, 2024.
Have a second?
Yes, second.
Any further discussion? We have the roll, please.
Commissioner Terry,
Yes.
Commissioner Curran,
Yes.
Commissioner Floyd,
Yes.
Commissioner Flynn,
Yes.
Commissioner Dupont Porter,
Yes.
Commissioner Hayes,
Yes.
Commissioner Melinas,
Yes.
Commissioner Warren, Chair Doherty.
Yes. And with that, thank you, Nicole. Excuse me, thank you very much for your presentation. And that concludes this meeting.